Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Intuitive Heart Healer podcast. My name is Valeri McLaughlin, and I will be your host, intuitive heart healer, energy artist, and spiritual guide. I hold space with love, helping people to connect with their heart centers so they can connect greater to spirit, live a life full of love, happiness, and joy, where they're guided by their intuition. Hello, and on today's podcast, we are going to go into the darkness to bring light to our hearts, to our souls, to our being. And we're going to talk about shadow work and what it means to go into the dark. I had a beautiful chat the other day with Ursula Duffy, and we were talking about the eclipse and the upcoming eclipse season, and what does that mean? What does it look like? What energies it's going to bring forth? And one of the things that came up was shadow work, that the eclipses right now are for us to look inward, to go into the dark, to embrace our darkness so that we can bring more light to it. I said, wow, this seems like a point where I really need to talk about shadow work. And what do I mean by shadow work? If you want to catch that chat that we had about this eclipse season in June 2020, then go over to my YouTube channel, Intuitive Heart Healer, and check it out. Tips on how to deal with the eclipse energy. It's a great chat with a lot of great information there for you about what to expect, what's coming up. So I brought this topic of going into the darkness and shadow work with a friend of mine who's not really familiar with what exactly I do. She said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by this? What is shadow work? And I said, well, it's going to the parts of us that we don't want to go to, or it's going to areas that maybe we locked up and threw away the key, or at least that's what we thought, but maybe we might have emotions and feelings and anxiety or depression or anger that's surfacing, and now we have to kind of look to see where they're actually coming from and look into parts of us that maybe we haven't wanted to look for. I said it's emotions, like, so if we had somebody that passed away and we kind of numbed out because we didn't grieve, we have to go to there. We have to go to that grief. We have to feel it. We have to embrace it so that we can release it and let go. I said it's kind of like what's going on right now in the country. The country, and I'm talking about the USA because that's where I'm from, we are going into our shadow work right here and right now. I'm talking about going into all the social injustice, the Black Lives Matters, going into the parts of history that this country has had that have been glossed over and not really looked at. That is the country going into its own shadow work. And it's not always pretty. When you're doing it as a collective, or if you're doing it as an individual, it's not necessarily the pretty work. And that's part of the reason why some people don't want to do it, because it's not the rainbows and butterflies. But let me tell you, when you do actually do this, you see more rainbows and butterflies. Somebody said to me, you're going to be so much happier, and this was just the other day, you're going to be so much happier than you are right now. And I thought about it, and I was like, man, really? Because I feel like really happy right now. I feel a lot of love. I feel a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. I have a smile on my face all the time. And she's like, yeah, imagine yourself 4 times happier than you are now. And I was like, I'm going to be on another planet in another universe, because that's how I can imagine myself. And it took me a minute to kind of reflect back and go back about 5 years ago. And if somebody said to me 5 years ago, you're going to be 4 or 5 times happier than you are now, I would have been like, what the heck are you talking about? I could have never imagined the feeling that I am in right now. But I'm going to tell you, I could never have gotten here where I am right now unless I went into my darkness, unless I did the shadow work. Doing that allowed me to do that now. It's like when you do your spring cleaning, or you take your summer clothes and you put them away and you bring out your winter clothes, and you go through these things and you get rid of things that you no longer need, that don't serve you. Maybe they don't fit, maybe it's out of style, maybe it's worn, and you get rid of these items, donate them, or maybe they're not even donatable because they have holes in it, and you're just like, it was my favorite shirt and I didn't want to get rid of it, but now you're looking at it at different eyes and it's like, it's got to go now, and you throw it away. Okay? When you do those things, you empty out space so that you can bring more in. And that is what happens when you begin to go into the shadow, is you release and let things go. You embrace that part of it, and you release the shame or guilt that you've had around some of these feelings and emotions or situations. You learn the lessons that these things have taught you. You reflect back on relationships. You reflect back on situations that in that moment you couldn't do, so you push them aside, and that's fine. That's all right, because that's what you needed to do to survive, to feel safe, to move on at that moment. But now I'm telling you, it's time to go back into there and look at that with fresh eyes from different perspectives, so that you can learn from that. Because every moment we are here on earth is a moment for us to learn and grow from. And the shadow work is not for us to be afraid of. It's not for us to label as bad. Our shadow work is for us to expand. And sometimes we have to look and we have to see, are we really afraid of that darkness? Or are we afraid of the light on the other side? Are we afraid of what's going to happen when we let go of this? We are afraid of that unknown. We actually know our shadow work very well. It's the I'm not good enough. It's the holding on to guilt for something you did. Let's say when you were a kid, you stole a candy bar out of a convenience store, 7-Eleven, Wawa, Circle K, I don't know, one of those bodegos on the corner or something. And you were in and you just did it. Not because you're a bad kid, just because you could at that moment and you wanted to experience what that experience felt like. Or maybe you wanted a candy bar and your mom and dad said no, they wouldn't pay for it, so you took it, held on to that experience your whole entire life because you still have felt guilty about doing that you did something bad, and you considered that bad, and now you're punishing yourself in other ways. When I say punishing ourselves, you look at this, you look at food. We'll talk about food for a second, even though with the candy bar, we can even relate it to a candy bar. But let's talk about food for a second. If you, let's say, label carbs as bad. So you say carbs are bad. I'm going to eat a no carb diet because I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to lose weight. And every time you eat a carb, you labeled it bad. And when we label something bad, we always end up punishing ourselves because that's our association typically with the word bad. If you do something bad, you have to be punished. When we're talking about punishment, it shows up in different forms. So if you eat carbs, then you're beating yourself up. man, I should have never ate that pasta. Now I'm going to gain weight. Now I'm never going to lose the weight I want. And you just start talking and talking and talking yourself into this way that you're actually you're punishing yourself. You're beating yourself up for eating pasta. The other thing is like, oh my God, I got to go to the gym an extra day this week because I ate that pasta. And if I don't go to the gym an extra day this week, I'm not going to be able to get this pasta off. And I should have never ate the pasta. You punish yourself. Some people physically punish themselves. Maybe they pinch themselves or cut themselves for things that they label as bad, and they do. When you label something as bad, you tend to punish yourself or you feel guilty about it. And that's the other part. Oh my God, you have this guilt that's eating you inside because you ate this carbs that you label bad that you should have never ate, and you're never going to be the weight that you want. So the same thing, if we go back to that candy bar, when you were a little kid, you took it, you stole the candy bar. You could still be carrying around that guilt from when you stole the candy bar, and you're like, I was a kid, how do I do that? Reflect on your life right now. Reflect on simple things, like maybe one day you walked out of the grocery store and you're taking your bags out of the grocery store and you notice that there's an apple that's not in your bag. And you're like, oh my God, I never put that apple up. Oh my God, I got to bring this apple back. They're going to think I stole it. That could be stemming from when you were a kid and you stole the candy bar. You never know how things that you continue to hold on to really actually affect your life here and now until you reflect on it. When feelings start to come up for you and something triggers you and sets you off, it's your opportunity at that moment or in the next, few days to reflect on that deep within yourself to see where that root cause is. The shadow work is about really going into the light. In order to step into the light, you also have to feel like you are worthy and you deserve it. Looking in areas of your life where you feel that you're not deserving of something, maybe from what people have told you or you overheard, will help you to see the light. Anxiety, depression, fear, guilt, forgiveness, traumas, grief. These are all examples of shadow work and things for you to really be able to understand and reflect on and to see the lessons and wisdom and knowledge that they have lent to you so that you can expand. Shadow work's also about working on releasing your ego. We need our ego. We need aspects of our ego. We need the ego that tells us it's not safe for us to walk in the street because there's a moving car or put our hand on something hot. We need the ego to give us wisdom and information, but we need to release the part of the ego that doesn't serve us. The part of our ego, when it's not in balance, that tells us we're not good enough, or you should do this even though in your heart it's not something that you want to do or should do, but you're being guided by your ego. And the ego has a lot to do with these fears, these guilts, and things that are around. It's that part of you that makes you question the light that you need to heal, reflect, and grow from. You have to embrace that darkness. You think about it. The moon shines so bright in the sky because it embraces the darkness. It says, I see your darkness. Let me show you how bright I can shine. And then the moon goes dark again that you can't see it, or you can barely see it, because it goes into the state of understanding its shadow so that it can come back and shine bright again. So I'm asking you guys right now to start doing that difficult work. The unlocking part of those barriers that are around your heart. Remember in the episode last week, we were talking about letting love in. And when you bring that love to these areas of your darkness, you allow it to shine and grow. That story with the candy bar, when you took it as a kid, was a lesson for you to learn. What did you learn? What was the guilt that you're holding on to? Was it the guilt because you took it and the store lost money? Was it because you were told that stealing was bad and that made you feel guilty? Was it guilty because your parents told you couldn't have a candy bar, but you stole it because you really wanted it? And did that stealing it at that moment, defying your parents, show up in other areas of your life? Then you're afraid to go out and take back your life because you have that feeling that taking is guilty. It gets very complex, but you have to be like the tarot card in the tarot deck. It's one of the major cards in the tarot deck. You have to burn it down so that you can grow it back up. And that's what sometimes it feels like when you go into shower work, that you have to break it down all the way down to the foundation so that you can learn all the different layers and aspects of it so that you can build it back up again. And just think about what the U.S. is going on. It's not burning it down. I'm not talking about physically burning something down, but breaking down every little piece and going all the way back into our history. And what is it showing us and what is it teaching us? And how can we see those lessons and build on that? How can we use that as a foundation of growth? That's what your shadow work is, your darkness is. It's your foundation. It's for you to go into and build your foundation of growth in. So I'm challenging you now to reflect in areas of your life. And so you can start by things like, how are you feeling? Touch base with you. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about something that's going on? How are you feeling about going outside? Because some of us too we've been in these stay-at-home orders. They're being lifted and businesses are starting to back to open. And some of you might be like having anxiety about this. So how do you feel about going outside? How do you feel about going back to work? Reflect on that. Get to the root cause of it. Go deep within you. Is it something about here and now? Or is it something from your childhood you have to go into and heal and grow, release, and let go? It is a beautiful time period for right now. I know some of you are like, what the heck are you talking about? There's all this going on. But just like in the tarot deck, you have the Tower card and the Devil card and the Death card, and people sometimes are fearful for that. When I began to read tarot, and people would ask me, and they're like, "Oh, that's the deck with the Death card, or that's the deck with the Devil card," and the shadow work is the Devil card. That's the shadow work, and that's what these cards are asking you to do, is to go deep into that part of you, tear something down so that you can build up. Look at your material items. Do you need them? Can you release and let them go? Do those material items have emotions and things that are attached to them? So in that deck, when I get those cards, it's like, oh my God, this is great. It's time for me to go and expand and grow again. And I get excited about it. Don't get me wrong. I get excited when I get the Magician card. I get excited when I get the Universe card too. But it's a different kind of exciting because it's like all this work that I've done, all these layers I pull back are opening up so that I can bring in other things in. But the getting that Tarot card, that Devil card, the Death card, it's that time to go, oh yes, let's go tackle this and find out what I need to know so I can expand and grow even more. That's what this pandemic is teaching us as a collective. That is what the Black Lives Matters is teaching us. That's what the social injustice is teaching us. Where can we dive back in deeper? Where can we go to learn the lessons to make us better? For us to expand, to us to accept the light and bring the light in, to enlighten us, to ascend into a higher dimension. You have to go into that shadow. You have to do that work. And I'm using the word have to. You really don't have to do anything. But if you want to really grow and expand and learn what these lessons are and make the world a better place, make you feel better, have you feel more happiness, love, and joy. Like I said in the beginning, like if you asked me 5 years ago, would it be to feel like 4 times happier, I would have never known that. And now I'm probably more than 4 times happier. And somebody tells me I'm going to be even happier than this. But now I can see it because I can see the fruits of my labor. I can see the seeds I planted growing. But in order to be able to do that, I had to tear down the walls. I had to go into that darkness and learn the lessons. So take this time now and do it. Go in and learn what you can learn from your shadow. Bring that forward. Grow and expand. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Then go back in and do it again. Because then you can go even deeper and deeper and deeper. The shadow work is here for us to expand. It's here for us to grow. It's here for us to help us ascend and become more enlightened. It's help us to see how divine we are and how human we are. The shadow work is here and the darkness is here for us to embrace. So go out and embrace your darkness. Go out and learn those tough lessons. Bring them forward. Help the collective consciousness grow even more. When you help yourself, you help the world. And you can work on yourself and also work on the collective consciousness at the same time. Or you can work on yourself and know that what you do from within will shine through outward. And that alone will help people. When people see what you're doing and see how much you start to glow, how happy you are, how much joy you have, they too will want to start to do the same things. You will inspire others to change and grow as well. That is going deep into our shadows and what the shadows can do for us. It is here for us. It is here for us to expand. It is here for us to see how beautiful we are, how bright we are, and it's here for us to shine our lights even more. I want to thank you all for listening today. I appreciate all of you. I am so grateful to have you as part of my tribe and to spread this love with you. Please go over to the Intuitive Heart Healer YouTube channel. Check out the wonderful conversation I had with Ursula about the eclipse season. There's a lot of great, useful information in there that's going to help you. The eclipse is here also to help us. It's not here working against us. It's here to help us. It's our choice whether we want to do it. So take some time, go over there, check out the conversation, learn, grow, expand even more. Want to learn more about me? Check me out at intuitivehearthealer.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Intuitive Heart Healer, or on Facebook. I have a wonderful group called Intuitive Heart Healer. I'm looking forward to connecting with you all at some point and spreading love throughout the world and throughout the universe. Thank you for stopping by today. Spreading love to you all. Till next time. Bye-bye for now.